want to welcome you on behalf of the beef program here at the Hill Farm. Welcome y'all here. I'm going to give y'all a real quick update on what's been going on beef-wise here at the Hill Farm. And since he's standing right here, we do have a new staff member here, Brian Sanders. Brian, wave at him. Brian's our herdsman here. A lot of y'all know him. He's been here almost a year now and is really making a big impact. He takes care of the cattle every day. His dad's here. In fact, don't hold that against him though. Anyway, I'm going to jump right into it, and we'll go through some stuff real quick, and we're ultimately going to talk about some stocking rate stuff I think is kind of important for us to go over. And just to update on our herd, we have 178 head of mature cows now here at the Hill Farm. Those cattle are primarily Angus, Charolais Cross, and Brangus. In the past couple of years, we've been using some Brangus bulls, trying to create some replacement females, and we've been pretty successful. Later on this afternoon, during Ashley's demonstration on cattle docility, you'll probably see some of those replacement heifers that we're able to develop. We're running 112 head of yearlings right now. These yearlings are tied up on a grazing demonstration we have on winter forages, and I'll get to that in just a minute because it's directly related to stocking rates. I mentioned we use Brangus bulls. What we're doing is we're taking those mature cows and we're crossing them, those Angus Charolais based cows, crossing them with the Brangus bull. We're creating the type, wandering out already. We're creating the type of females that we feel are best acclimated to this part of the country. And as I said, you'll see those. We do use Angus bulls. We're breeding those first calf heifers, exposing them to Brangus bulls, and we are AIing some. We'll be here in another week, be AIing a set of heifers to some Angus sires. So we do like to use Angus, not knocking Angus by any stretch of imagination. We just like the type heifers we can develop out of those that Brangus Angus cross, Charolais cross. Juggling my notes, I told y'all I was going to do that. Some of the projects that we have ongoing here at the Hill Farm as far as beef related, we just finished last week with our Louisiana Producer Artificial Insemination class, something we've been doing for about 8-9 years now. And what we do is we bring in producers. We fill up almost every time. We do bring them in and we teach them about how to artificially inseminate beef cattle. We also teach them some of the practical matters of AI and techniques, and it's a 3-day clinic. Our goal is whenever a producer leaves here, they can successfully AI their own cattle. So that's something very important that we feel that we need to keep up, and we do have a high demand for that. We have people from all over the southeast. We've had folks from Texas come in. We're very happy with that program. We do a summer annual forage demonstration, and that mainly centers on sorghum Sudan grass and pearl millet, with the purpose of it being producing baleage. Our advisory council has requested that we do some work looking at trying to create some high value, high feed value forages that could be wrapped, and y'all know what I'm talking about, baled high moisture. We focused on sorghum Sudan grass and pearl millet, as I said. We've had some mixed results with that. I'm not going to talk on it in depth right now. If you have questions, or if you're looking at incorporating sorghum Sudan or pearl millet into your operation as far as a hay crop, and we're expanding a little bit to grazing some of it too. But if you have any questions on that, let me know afterwards. I'll be more than happy to discuss that with you, because we feel like we got a handle on some things in regards to that, and we've made some errors. We've had some success. Feel like we can share that. Something new that we've kind of piloted the last couple of years and has been met with a great demand is our cattle pregnancy determination clinic. It's one of the only ones like it in the state and can be argued in the country. This is a one-day event. We bring in producers and we teach them all methods of determining pregnancy on their own cattle. We've got some veterinarians that come in and help us with that, instruct us. We teach palpation, we teach blood testing, determining pregnancy by blood test, and we also teach ultrasound, even though Ultrasound's a technology not many beef producers are going to invest in, but we do teach it. And if you turn around and look right there, we've developed a new facility. We've got a 9-cow staunching system under our barn there, where we can hold 9 cows and producers can get in there. That's where we teach AI, that's where we teach our cattle pregnancy determination, and so on and so forth. We have our winter annual stocking rate demo. That's what this field behind us is part of, and I'll talk about that here in just a minute, but basically we're stocking at different rates using cereal rye and rye grass, and I'll talk about that a little more in depth here in just a minute. Finally, our newest program, and we're really excited about this one. It's called the Go Beef Heifer Development Project. Dr. Ashley Edwards, who's standing here waving at y'all, is the lead on that, so I'm not going to steal much of her thunder on that. We're really excited about this, about developing these heifers. In her talk this afternoon, she is going to go into a little bit more detail about that, but it's going to be an opportunity for producers to enroll heifers for us to develop here using winter forages. Really excited about that one. I'm going to jump in real quick and go through a couple of things as far as stocking rates, because it seems like we get a lot of questions about it. It seems like a lot of people have preconceived notions, I guess you would say, about how many cattle you can stock on your operation. Some of it's good, some of it's bad. I'm going to go through a couple of things. And spoiler alert, I guess you would say, I'm not going to tell you a certain amount per acre, but we are going to go through some things you can use to determine that on your operation. So we want to talk about why stocking rates are important, and we know that choosing the right amount of cattle for the available forage is crucial to our profitability and of course our long-term sustainability of our operation. My question to y'all is the old 2 acres for each mature cow, is that a good rule of thumb? Yes, no, some people use that, some people don't. That's the most common rate that you're going to hear about here in Louisiana. Okay, and I'm here to tell you that there's no one-size-fits-all rule when it comes to stocking your pastures with cattle. It all depends. That's the favorite county agent's answer to a question is it depends, and that's true on stocking rates. Some of the factors that kind of influence our stocking rates: location, that's huge. Soil type, that's huge. You know, if you're over in the Red River Valley in those alluvial soils, you know, you're going to be able to stock at a little bit higher rate depending on your management. Here in the hill parishes, it's very dependent on soil types. Here at the Hill Farm, for example, this is some pretty good sandy loam soil on this side of the highway. You get over on that other side of the highway and you'll stub your toe on some iron ore rock. So most upland parishes have that same problem. Okay, forage type is huge as far as our stocking rates. You know, we know that generally Bermuda grass is going to be a little bit more productive than Bahia grass. Not always, but generally as a rule, that's the case. Weather is a huge determination. Y'all all remember 2011. If you were in the cattle business in this part of the world in 2011, or in Texas, or just about anywhere in this region, you'll remember 2011 and that drought. You know, our stocking rates had to be cut down severely due to that. Time of the year, we know that we can stock on pastures such as this time of the year, and on volunteer ryegrass and such. We know we can stock pretty heavy given the opportunity this time of the year, but we also know that in August we're going to pay for that heavier stocking rate. Our management style, you know, I deal with some folks that have 200 and 300 acre pastures with no cross fencing. They turn out the cattle and that's where they're at, and they got to make it right in there. And so that can be heavily dependent. You know, cross fencing is a huge deal. I deal with some folks that use electric fence, and they may even break it down to 3 and 4 and 5 acre paddocks and may rotate daily. We know that by rotationally grazing we can increase that stocking rate. Fertilization is huge. How many of y'all have priced fertilizer this spring? Did you hit your head when you fell down, or were you sitting down? That's what I hope, you were sitting down. If you haven't priced fertilizer yet, you're in for a shock. It is tremendously increased in prices. And of course, stage of production of the cow influences our stocking rate. You know, we know that if we got a set of dry cows, this time of year we can really pile them up in some of these pastures that's got volunteer ryegrass, and they're going to do okay. But those lactating cows, those cows with nursing calves, we know that they've got to have the most nutrition out there, so we really got to pay attention to that. Weed control. Dr. Ron Strahan, back in the back there, he's going to be talking about some weed control options here in just a minute. We know that those weeds in our pastures, we all got them, they take up a huge amount of real estate in our pastures, right? They take up nutrients, they take up sunlight, space, water. Water's a huge thing. The amount of trees, brush, or cow size. I deal with producers all over northwest Louisiana, and a lot of times these producers will call and they want to talk about stocking rates. And am I okay, Ashley? And they'll tell me, I got a 100-acre place, and how many can I stock? And so we pull up an aerial map on this thing. We look, and they got, a little set of woods, some shade, which we got to have this part of the country come summertime. They'll have a decent sized pond. They got their catch pens out by the road. May have a barn there. By the time we take out all those factors, they may only have 60, 70 acres. Sometime I dealt with a man one time, he said he had a 50-acre place. When we got done mapping it out, he had about 20 acres of available pasture. So that's a huge thing that's got to be taken into consideration when we're talking about stocking rate. And finally, cow size. Cow size is a huge thing. Dr. Ryan Walker, whenever he was here with us, did a lot of work on cow size. And he had some pretty revealing results on that, I would say. Basically, I'll sum it all up in one statement. Just because you have a 1,400-pound cow versus a 1,000-pound cow does not mean that 1,400-pound cow is going to wean you a bigger calf than that 1,000-pound. But we know that 1,400-pound cow is going to eat more forage on a daily basis. Our cows have steadily over the years, some of y'all more mature, I'm not going to say older, but some of you more mature producers will remember when cows were a lot smaller than what they are right now. Our cattle generally have gotten bigger, so our cow size has to be taken into consideration. So when we're talking about too high or too low on our stocking rate, if we're overstocked, we're not providing them enough grass, we're increasing our inputs, we're more fertilizer, more feed, more hay during the wintertime. We know that if we're overstocked, we're lowering our cattle performance. The body condition scores on the cows are going to go down. Our weaning weights are going to go down. And that weaning weight is the name of the game. If you're a cow-calf producer, that weaning weight should be one of the most important numbers you're figuring on. I don't know how many of y'all have been to the sale barns in the last year or so. You watch some of these 300-pound calves roll through. Those people take it on the chin now. I don't know how they're staying in business, to be honest with you. We want to wean as heavy a calf as possible. That's a pretty easy concept to keep up on. Impacts on herd health. Think about those worms, the internal parasites. Think about what that close grazing on them pastures can do to our parasite loads on cattle. And of course, soil health. I know we got some NRCS folks here, so you had to mention soil health. The overall fertility of our land, erosion, all those things. Understocking a pasture does have its disadvantages as well. We're making a poor use of our available forage. We're not truly using it to its maximum potential. We have a low return on investments. We know that if we buy our chemical from Red River Specialty and we spray our pasture, that's a set amount no matter if we're fully stocked or half stocked. We know that we've got the same cost on chemical to spray, on tractors, on facilities, things like that. Those set input costs, if we're not truly grazing to our best potential, they're not being fully utilized. And of course, overall reduced profitability of the herd. I've got a chart here. Ashley, you got that in hand?
I think.
This is from Dr. Mott and Moore from 1970, and you want to hand some of those out, Ashley?
No, if you don't have one, let me know.
Okay. That chart right there is a good summation of everything that I talked about. We're trying to hit that optimum range on our grazing pressure. It's a careful balancing act between too much and too little. So it's a very important concept, and it's a concept that a lot of folks get wrong. Some folks get it right. Ashley, this one right here.
Y'all should have 3
Yeah. I included this this study done by Dr. Roquette and Dr. Norman out of Texas A&M, a 44-year study on weaning weights. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this because I'll take up more time than what's allotted to me. I may be actually over time by now. The main thing that you'll see is on these low, medium, and high stocking rates, that weaning weight goes down. Okay, we see that reduction in weaning weight. Tracking costs, our costs are going to go up on those higher stocking rates. Real briefly, I'm going to talk about this, our winter annual stocking rate demo that we've got going on, part of it that you see behind here. What we're doing is we're coming in and no-till drilling ryegrass and cereal rye during the fall time of the year. We're using, these are predominantly Bermuda grass and a few Bahia grass pastures. All pastures are fertilized using 4,000 pounds of broiler litter. We've got access to chicken litter here. We do have 2 chicken houses, demonstration and research houses here, broiler houses, and so we use litter out of those. That's what we're fertilizing with. We're using spring-born calves, weaning them in the fall. We're preconditioning them and getting them turned out on that ryegrass as soon as possible, as soon as it's at a grazing height that is comfortable for grazing. And we're using 4 different rates, okay, and we're expressing it as pounds of cattle per acre. Now, I know that there are a lot of other ways of figuring up stocking rates. You can get very technical very quick when we're talking about stocking rates, but for this purpose we use pounds of cattle per acre. So our first rate, I think y'all got this in front of you, but we use a heavy stocking rate, 800 pounds of yearlings per acre. Medium, we're using 600 pounds. And our low, this is kind of a special case rate, is these pastures are not planted on rate 4. These are unplanted pastures utilizing volunteer ryegrass and fescue. Now, fescue is something that a lot of us don't have. We're kind of at the lower limit of fescue right here, but you will see as you make this field tour, we do have a substantial amount of it. All we're doing on this 4th rate is fertilizing what's already there. Okay, it's a low input rate. The next 2 pages you'll see are going to be our results. We kicked this off in the fall of 2018 and the spring of 2019, and of course we ran it last year, and it is ongoing this year. I believe this pasture right here, we've got steers here, they're on the far end. You'll see them when you get on the trailer. They're being a little shy right now, but I believe this is a 600 pound rate here behind us. But you can see the results. I'm not going to spend just a ton of time on it. My point is, pay close attention to those average daily gains on the right side and our cost of gains. As you can see, our average daily gains generally go down. Now, there's an anomaly right there on that 400 and 600 pound rate on 2019. It corrects itself in 2020, but our cost of gains go down, okay? It's a careful balancing act on all this whenever it comes into proper stocking rates. That's just a little bit about what we've been doing here. I know I've flown through a lot of subjects very quickly. If you have any interest in our AI classes, if you have any interest in our pregnancy determination clinics, if you want more information on our Go Beef Heifer Development Program, or on this stocking rate demonstration, or on our sorghum, Sudan grass, and pearl millet demonstration, please let me know. My take home message for all of you as producers: take a look at your stocking rates. A lot of people, whenever I talk about reducing our stocking rates, because a lot of us are overstocked, when I talk to them, they think, oh, I'm going to drop down from 1 cow to every 2 acres to a cow to every 3 acres. That's not the way you have to look at it, in my opinion. You have to look at it from the operation standpoint as a whole, kind of a 30,000 foot. I believe my speaker's messing up on me, but maybe that's saying it's time to go. But you need to look at it from a 30,000 foot point of view. So instead of going down to 1 cow to every 3 acres, think about making a slight reduction in that mature cow herd And a lot of times, even though you remove a small percentage of your cows from your mature herd, your weaning weights going up will compensate for that, and you may be able to save on your input costs. That being said, if we got any questions, I got Jason Holmes here. He can answer them better than I can. Are there any questions?
I did not pass out your cards, but I know you have the box over there.
Yeah, I got my cards here. If if anybody has any questions or wants to contact me, be more than happy to answer them. We're glad y'all are here. We sure do appreciate y'all coming out. I'll be around all day if you want to talk about any of these projects. Be more than happy to visit with y'all.